What's up, everyone? Welcome to the What's Your Five podcast, episode 21 for the year 2021. Bente Uno, Happy New Year. Thank you guys so much for waiting. My name is Rodell. And if you guys haven't noticed, the producer, the editor, the man is back for one episode so far. Mr. Anthony, how are you doing, sir?
How did I end up as a guest on the show? I used to be on all the time. What kind of demotion is that? I'm guest starring on here.
He's not guest starring. He's back. I'm saying he's back. I'm not saying, and a special guest host tonight.
I do love that you ended 2020 on episode 20 and you're starting 2021 on 20, on 21.
Hey, like I said, man, it's
you're
called
a podcasting genius.
I am.
You're like Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind over there.
So if you guys don't know, my name is Rodell. Again, this is Anthony, and we are the What's Your Five podcast, going over our top 5 lists for any given topic. And so I am super excited because we're starting this year off, 2021. I wanted to record with Anthony, and this episode is going to be our top 5 Marvel movies. Now,
yes, sir.
He and I were kind of discussing. He's like, "Is this Marvel movies or is it MCU movies?" And to be quite honest with you, I was actually assuming the Marvel universe, but now that you mentioned that, is it any Marvel movie? I'm just gonna go and say it's gonna be any Marvel movie at this
Which
point.
is classic us. It's like, what's your top 5 of this? It's like, well, do you mean this? Do you mean from this decade? Them in their prime? And it's always like secondary measures that comes up.
I know. Oh, man. So before we get into the swinging things, I do want to mention a couple announcements. First off, we still have our subscriber giveaway, right? So if we hit a certain subscriber number, which right now we're currently at, as a part of this episode, we're 125 for our YouTube subscription. So we're trying to get to 150, guys. If we can get 25 more subscribers, we're going to be doing a random console giveaway. Xbox, Nintendo consoles, Neo Geo consoles. It could be anything at that point, right?
That's
so we want to give you guys back something very nice for all the positive love that you've been giving us throughout the 6 months that we've been doing this so far. So we have that announcement. The second announcement is going to be our Twitch channel that's going to be premiering this month, meaning that we're going to actually be doing live streams of our podcasts for at least once a month. So be on the lookout for that. The way you look out is through our social media channels at What's Your _5 on all major social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. It's at What's Your _5. If you want to reach out to us for any topics, or if you want to be on the show, please reach out to us at topics@whatsyour5.com, or go on the website, whatsyour5.com, for any previous lists that you guys missed. With that all out of the way.
You're on TikTok.
I am on TikTok. This is true. Anthony,
you say it.
So let me ask you, man, it's been a while, at least a month and a half-ish that we've recorded. Yeah. How the hell have you been?
So I've been going through all these highs and lows of like being super busy, and then now suddenly I find myself with like extra time.
Hey,
just because it's like been a roller coaster between work and personal life stuff, and now I'm kind of in a lull where during the holidays and even up to like last week, everything's has been really chaotic and packed with things to do, and now a lot of pressure has recently come off, so not too bad.
That's great. I'm very glad to hear that. So are you telling me that 2021 is actually starting to become a good year for you? Is that
it's mellowing out? I mean, that's one part of it, which hasn't been too bad, that it's at least like kind of calmed down to a point where it's just like, oh, I actually have some time to do other stuff.
If you guys haven't, listened to the episodes in the past, or you guys are catching up, one running joke I always like to ask Anthony is, how's the book doing?
Book is doing fine. The book is it's still in rewrites. I think I have like 325 pages written.
Wow.
And I've edited well, I shouldn't say edit it. Editing is a whole different process, but I've done rewrites on about 96 pages.
I was about to say, it's like,
And
so
that's me going.
325 to 324 pages. Is that what you
I'm a third of the way through on rewrites anyway. So I just plug away to like a little bit every day. I try to get like an hour in on it. And
Nice.
anybody who wants to write a book or even do any large project and you think like it can't be done, just give yourself an allotment of time, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever it may be, and just stick to that. Either it's early in the morning, late at night, it's during your lunch break, it doesn't matter. Just plug away at it 15, 30 minutes a day, and eventually it'll get done.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think that goes for any type of, task, right? Or hobby or whatever, right? And with this podcast, it's like you dedicate 5, 10, 15 minutes of your time to write down notes, or you think about like what you're going to do, or, what you can do to grow the business or grow the subscriber count, grow the views, grow the likes, whatever the case is. I mean, it's really just kind of like life 101, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's weird because we don't keep track of things like time and money a lot of times. So a lot of times we just assume I don't have time to do that. I go to work and then I come home and then I got to sleep.
Yeah.
And same with money. It's just like we're just like, I can't afford that. But we don't actually usually take the time to account for where our time is going, where our money's going. So if you take a little bit of time, like, oh, I could actually make this work, not as fast as I wanted to, but really I could just chip away at it like a day at a time, a little bit at a time.
Yep. And eventually get done. So
and you could eventually learn pretty much anything if you just keep at it a little bit every day.
Right.
I probably could have learned to play piano by now if I just practice an hour every day, but I'm focusing on a book.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, man, maybe I should learn the guitar or something. I mean, we're, like I said, we're still in this whole quarantine thing, this whole pandemic garbage. I mean, it's like, you need to find some different hobbies, and like some people smoke meat, some people start podcasts, some people play guitar.
These people that smoke meat.
My cousin in Chicago was like, it was building a garden and smoking meats. That's what he learned. And you know what? When we went down there, it was absolutely amazing. Shout out to Derek.
The best time for self-improvement, man.
I'm telling you, bro.
I've been reading books on investing. I mean, that's
see,
I've been learning stuff.
So
you're practicing my writing,
day trading, and all that stuff. But look, all right, we can talk about inspirational stuff all the time. But here's what I want to talk about before we get into our gist of things. Cobra Kai season 3, Eagle Fang, baby. What it do?
Eagle Fang Academy season 1.
Damn right. Cobra Kai business. Tell me about it.
We're still early into it. I mean, I ran through the thing like pretty much as quick as possible, and I've done it with every season of Cobra Kai, like because it's karate, right? So it's like as soon as Maria falls asleep, I'm just like next episode. But I'm not going to say too much on it because I know a lot of people did not get through it. Some people, have not made the time to get through it. So I'm not going to say anything spoilery or anything like that. But
we spoil things all the time on this show, man. You can talk about it. It's okay. And by the way, if you want to, okay, look, for our listeners and viewers, if you guys want to pause now's the time to do it. And then just fast forward about 5 minutes or so, hopefully. And then we can go from there. Dude.
It won't be, and never pause me. I find it disrespectful. I'll go Eagle Fang on your ass. Never pause me.
Is it a mongoose? Anyway, so yeah. So tell me about it. What was your take on it? Because to be honest with you, the ending honestly gave me the corniness chills of the planet.
See, and you know what? It's weird because when I watch Cobra Kai, which is a totally unrealistic show that you can get away with in the 80s,
totally.
Now it's just like, this is so unrealistic, right? Season 2, you had this big high school brawl where kids are getting kicked off of balconies, and I'll say that because that was already old. That if you don't know about that, I don't know what to tell you. But
sorry.
And nowadays you look at it like, what is this karate town? And like people that are just like, these kids are just fighting and nothing's happening. Nobody's getting arrested or anything.
No.
Totally unrealistic, but it works for Cobra Kai. It's just like totally does. And I know you're all about the cheese and that you go for that. And I'm just like, do you hate this show or do you love this show? Like, do you find this ridiculous or are you just embracing the cheesiness of it?
Oh, you embrace it. I mean, come on, guys. If you guys don't know, I am a huge NSYNC fan. It's probably one of the cheesiest bands of all time. Backstreet Boys, I Need Your, all that stuff. I embrace the cheese. I'll tell you that right now. And Cobra Kai, No joke. Season 3 gave me. I mean, the first episode, it was all right. Second episode didn't start to pick up. I mean, it's one of those. But man, by the end of that season, oh man! And I think my favorite episode was when they went to Japan. When Daniel-san went to Japan and he saw Chosen, and I was like, "How cool is that?" And it was done so well, and I was just blown away. And it was so corny, but so good. Like you just can't stop watching it.
That happened because he was going to Japan. And I expect like the whole car company thing. Oh, it's all gonna magically get resolved because they're shipped to Japan.
Come on,
whatever.
Yeah.
Because it was super convenient that I'm the person who can fix this for you. But the part that it came out of left field for me that I loved was that he's all like, "Take me to this Okinawan village that I went to." Da 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 da. And we're all remembering it from the classic one. It's like, oh, dirt huts and all this. He goes there and there's a mall there, a brand new mall. There's like a Jollibee in there and everything.
I know.
That is awesome. That is so much like what would be there by now. Like, nobody's leaving this land untouched. And he's like, oh no, what about the villagers? Like, wait, she's like, yeah, they're happy. They got jobs now.
Yeah, they got jobs and they got paid. Yeah, it's just
it's like we were living in swampland. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a 2-bedroom now.
I know. When my wife went to sleep and I was watching Cobra Kai, it was like because she was a fan of Ralph Macchio. In the 80s, like thought was super cute, whatever like that. And now I'm like, okay, why don't you watch it now? Because it's Cobra Kai and he's there. He's just like, no, this is too corny. I'm like, it's good.
And this is the same thing I have with Maria, right? I think she was watching me watch season 1, and she's just like, why is this so cheesy and corny looking? I'm like, it's from the 80s. It's they're doing the same vibe,
right?
And she's just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would these two grown men be karate fighting in the middle of? I'm like, because it's Cobra Kai.
Because it's Cobra Kai.
You're not worthy to watch this. Get away from me. I'm going to wait for you to sleep. Don't quite ever question what Billy Zabka's doing. Okay, just go stand over there. Like, I'm going to get kicked in the face in a little while, and you're ruining it for me.
This is the same woman though that loves action movies, but then anytime the action stops is when she falls asleep. Just Yes, I am very aware of this woman. I love her to death. Don't get me wrong, Maria. I love you very much, man. But I got to decide with Anthony on this one. Cobra Kai, it's number 1. I tell you.
Love Cobra Kai, dude. And I know a lot of people had problems with season 2. I think because I know some people just wanted to focus on the predecessors basically, and not the kids. They don't like the storyline with the kids and all this. I'm like, whoa, where are you going to take it then?
Right.
What's the next generation of this? Like, if it was just the older guys doing their thing, and you had Kreese and all this, Ralph Macchio, and I'm just like, yeah, but how interesting is that? And how are you going to get a new audience involved and into this?
Right. I mean, I think, I actually liked the kids part of it. And I'm a huge Miguel fan, hands down. I did not like Robbie even in season 1. Thought Robbie was a chump, and so he was just a little daddy issue boy and all the other stuff. So like, I'm right with that. So when I saw Daniel's daughter getting with Miguel, I'm like, yes,
she's the worst.
She is.
Everybody hates her.
Everybody hates her, but hey,
I'm Team Tori all the way. So, yeah, love me some Tori because she's just like upfront about stuff. She's a badass, and I'm just like, I'll watch her kick the hell out of anyone. When they have the was it? Were they in the laser tag place? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And she's just calling out for her, like, "Where are you? You can't hide from me." I'm just like, kick her ass, Tori.
Kick his ass, ass.
That's real Cobra Kai right there. Okay,
it is real Cobra Kai. Trouble. Totally, and that's definitely a ways away from the running over a radio. We can go on about this the whole time.
Dude, we can do a whole episode about Cobra Kai. We can go through that easy.
You
asked me about the Mandalorian. I'm just like, yeah, I like the Mandalorian. I like the Mandalorian a lot. Name me 5 episodes. I'm like, I remember the first one because Oliphant was in it. I remember the special one with I don't even remember the chick's name, but she was on Rebels. And I remember the last episode.
Ahsoka Tano or whatever.
Tano, she was on there. It was Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
And then obviously I remember the last one.
I'm spoiling that. You know what, dude? Like I said, so I was talking to somebody about this, man. I'm sorry, okay? Like, I thought the last episode, because I binge watched Mandalorian, right? Like the whole way through, because I missed out on it. I watched the last episode. I seriously was really upset about how it ended. I really was, because the build up to the ending, where it was like, oh, Moff Gideon's a little chump now. He just gets beat up again. Not a big deal. And then the other Mando ladies are like, we're all here, and it's like, where's Darksaber? Here's Darksaber. Well, you can't power it on because it's a child of combat. Bullshit, dude. Like, get out of here with that. And then all of a sudden, Luke comes out of nowhere. Forget it, dude. Like, at that point,
but doesn't that all go back to what Bill Burr was saying? All right, so when you get to the end of it, he just wants to give her the sword. He's like, here's the sword, because I know you care about it and I don't care about it.
Right.
And yes, Giancarlo Esposito, he's just laying there like a little bitch. He's just laying on the ground like, I guess I was defeated. I'm just like, don't you have another plan, up your sleeve where you're like, haha, I got away and da-da-da. Like, usually that would happen, and he didn't have anything prepared.
That's what I'm saying. It was so lame. So lame.
Yeah, I really thought he would do something a little bit more, like, either to escape or that he would have like another master plan. He just had those robots.
Yeah.
But Bill Burr was saying, I don't remember what episode it was, whenever Bill Burr got involved. I don't remember his character's name.
Yeah.
He was saying, like, so what is it? Like, you're saying you have all these rules to live by.
Yeah.
First it's, I can't let anyone see my face. Oh no, I can never take the helmet off.
Right.
Then it goes from that to no one can see my face.
Yep.
So the lines are pretty blurry as far as like what you will do and what you won't do.
Yeah.
And he's Mando's getting pissed at him. He's just like, look, I'm just saying what everybody already knows. Because that when shit goes down, the rules change. Like, you get real fast and loose with it. Like, oh, well, I got to do this.
That's exactly what he said.
Exceptions.
Yep.
And that's kind of like at the end, I'm just like, oh, well, she can only get that sword by trial of combat. I'm just like, well, he still won the sword. He just give it to her. I'm just like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just so all these like plot holes are not plot holes. Like these money devices is what I want to call them, because they're all money grabs at that point. And it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, I'll rewatch the season finale of Cobra Kai any day of the week over that. Anytime, because the whole hype.
I didn't know you were that
like,
disappointed with it.
Oh, super disappointed, dude. Super disappointed. I just, like I said, it was
okay with it. I thought the last episode was going to be more dramatic, either because of Giancarlo Esposito having like outsmarted them in some way, and I actually thought that he might even look like he won.
Right.
And that would be the driving force for season 3.
Yep.
Or I thought that Baby Yoda or Grogu, that they were going to end up ripping the baby out of Mando's hand, and he would like, start crying and like using force powers and like crushing a ship, or something big was going to happen.
That would have been great. Like, I would have that would have been very dramatic, because we haven't seen that baby cry yet. Right. And I thought it was going to be a big dramatic scene of them like having to force, take the baby away from him, and something big was, but nothing big happened. It was just like this really soft, like, I took off my helmet to get the baby where it needed to go, and we're done. And now we're done. Baby. And we're just gonna do Book of Boba Fett, call it a day, and now Chun-Li is gonna be my sidekick.
Yeah, I like that chick, but she's a side character.
She's a total side character. Anyway, on the track of Disney Plus shows, before we started recording, you were talking about watching WandaVision. So
which you haven't watched yet.
Yeah, I did not watch it yet, but I would like to know.
Since you're all about spoilers.
I don't care. I mean, because I don't really see any real. In fact, it's funny because we're gonna talk about this in our top 5, but I'm gonna say it right now. Like, Scarlet Witch, I didn't really care about. And Vision, I'm like, okay, I guess. Like, I mean, like, I understand where he came from. That's cool, but I mean, like, it's like, she's part of the reason why the whole Infinity, like, the whole Avenger thing happened. The whole Endgame happened. It was her fault. It was one of her fault. Mostly her fault. But who's to decide, right?
Your video just out.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. I don't get it. I really don't. So what?
I don't remember her starting it. I don't even know what you're referring to as it being her fault.
So she had the choice of either destroying the stone in Vision's head.
Or them saving him, right?
Or I'm saving him, or
extracting the stone. That's
right, extracting the stone. To save millions of lives. or I'm going to keep them around.
Billions. Oh no,
Or
I'm sorry, trillions of life.
trillions of lives,
Trillions of lives.
including, losing all these lives in Wakanda, which they had zero. Like, why was Wakanda a part of it, man? Why are you gonna bring it to Wakanda for? Like, Wakanda didn't do anything wrong.
They got all the best technology, dude.
Yeah, they got all the best technology, but why are you gonna bring all your people, all these anyway, I'm just saying. So back to WandaVision. Yay or nay?
Same thing they did in the Civil War, right? We don't like black people, but we can use them as soldiers. Put them on the front line so we don't get shot. I mean, that's the thinking behind that, right? Like, well, can we put them in front of us so they can absorb the bullets?
Yeah. What was it? What was it in South Park? Operation Human Shield.
That's all that was. They were just being true to history. We have this big problem now. Throw black people in front of it. Protect the white children at all costs.
Oh God. I was trying to think about. Okay. Oh, my other question. How is WandaVision?
There's only 2 episodes out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched the first one, and I was gonna go straight to the second one. And I'm just like, I'm gonna go to sleep. So I think I watched the second episode this morning, like early this morning, like 8 in the morning.
Okay.
So it was intriguing. So, I can't tell you much of anything that's not already in any of the reviews. It's an homage to classic sitcoms.
Okay.
And it looks like they're jumping a decade on each episode so far, going by the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, it's like a 70s TV show. It's like the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Okay.
And they had an intro that kind of it's an intro made specifically for them, but it has that old school feel.
Sure.
And they go through it, and it's really cheesy and corny the way you would see an old sitcom now, right?
Right.
To fit that mold. But then they splice in all this stuff that makes you know that something is off. And in the first episode, there's like this part where Vision's boss, because it's like, I have a regular 9-to-5 job. I'm hiding the fact that I'm a robot.
Right.
And then like, oh, well, I'm coming to dinner tonight, because that's a very common trope in those old shows.
Yep.
And then something's happened to this dude, and he's like choking to death. Like he's just choking on like a chicken bone or whatever.
Ooh.
And the wife's like, oh, honey, stop it. Honey, cut it out. Oh, honey. And she's doing this over and over, and you're like, well, he's dying. Like,
right.
Why is she not snapping out of it?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually Wanda's just like, Vision, help him. Like everything gets really serious. It stops being cheesy and goes to like 100% serious, then goes back into the tropiness of it. Right. So it's really kind of unnerving, because you're watching them basically play an old sitcom show, and they're true to form as much as possible, and then it breaks out of that and it goes back into it, like you're on the holodeck in like Star Trek.
Oh.
And that happens again in the second episode. It's a very typical. I think they're emulating Bewitch in the second episode. If you remember Bewitch.
Yeah.
Bewitch, I believe, started as a black and white, then turned into a color show because of the year it came out. So then the intro also changes. It goes from a 70s opening to like was it 80s? No, I'm sorry, from 50s to 60s.
Yeah.
So it goes into like a 60s opening. So it has a different, I guess they're going to do a different opening on each episode. That's my assumption at this point. The outro, by the way, the way they do when the episode ends, it's really cool. I really like that part of it.
So is it like Sam jumping in Quantum Leap going into the next life?
No, and it has nothing to do with the format they're following at all, because the whole beginning of it and the whole episode is retro. It's 50s, it's 60s, right. But then it goes all modern on the end part. Like it's all these LCD crystals, like LED crystals, like from TV, making different stuff. And you're like, wow, it looks like the opening of a Marvel movie.
I got you.
And it's really trippy, and it's kind of giving you clues as to what's going on, that this is a construct. That's what I've made out of it so far. That this is all an illusion. It's a hologram or a program.
Right.
And so they're giving you clues to that, but it's all very modernized. Okay. So right now I'm really enjoying it. The sitcom part of it is all just kind of like whatever. It's good. They're doing a great job with that. But the real intriguing part is like they're taking their time about this mystery of like what's actually going on.
Right.
Why is this happening? Where are they really?
Right.
She's starting to suspect it's in her mind. She's like, is this real? Like things seem out of place.
Right.
And you know this already if you follow any of the Marvel, you're like, why is this happening? You already know it doesn't fit. So that's the fun part of it, is you trying to figure out, like, what is this? Is this a simulation? Is this in her mind? What, what's happening? But they're taking their time with it. They're not rushing, like, here's a really big hint of what's happening. Sometimes they kind of do that, but kind of like go to the lowest common denominator, like, hey, let me hit you over the head with a clue. But other than that, you don't know too much of what's going on. So I'm enjoying it.
All right.
All that to say that I'm enjoying it so far.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm definitely interested, somewhat. I mean, I'll probably end up watching it anyway, just because it's Marvel and I enjoy Marvel stuff. It's just good stuff. Good job, Kevin Feige, and all that. I think somebody just told me, or somebody I just read recently that somebody hailed Kevin Feige, right, as like the greatest. Feige.
I always say Kevin Feige is always
Feige. Yeah, like somebody proclaimed him as like the best producer like on the planet. Like
I guess.
Like I said, it's I mean,
he's got a pretty good track record for the last 10 years. We can't say he doesn't. His movies have all done well. Even the lower of them have done well.
Right.
So I can't argue that. You'd have to go through like every other movie run that's existed before and like, oh, how's he hold up against so and so? And who's really looking at producers?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, directors are more common and writers are more common, but it's like, who's looking at producers or executive producers? Like, who's the best producer? I don't know what a producer does.
You know who the best producer is? That guy right there, Mr. Anthony. Let me tell you that. Let me say,
yeah, right.
Producer and editor in chief in Master Karate. All right, so with all of that,
now that we're on to Marvel stuff,
we have to finally roll into the Marvel stuff. I was trying to segue into as much as I can, because again,
I want to say my one problem with Scarlet Witch, she has undefined powers. That's my biggest issue with that character.
I never really understood. Like she throws red stuff.
and I used to think before it was just sloppy, right? Because when they introduced characters like, oh, he's really fast and she's weird,
right? And
I thought like, well, that's just, I don't like when I don't know a person. It's the same problem I have with the Harry Potter series. Oh, magic can do anything, and there's no limit to what it can do. I'm like, well, that sucks, because then you can get away with anything. I'll just reverse time and nothing matters.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the feeling I have for her character. I was like, I don't know where her limitations are. Therefore, she maybe has no limitations, and I don't like that. So I think what's her problem? Her powers come from the Mind Stone, right? I think so.
I don't know if it's because of her Mind Stone. I thought she was just like a psychic. I thought she had like she was like Jean Grey.
Made by the she was made by the Nazi dude.
My Red Skull?
No. Not Zemo. I'm not gonna remember his name now. Yeah, but it was in one of the Avengers movies, and they were doing experiments with that Mind Stone, and that's how her and her brother got their powers.
Quicksilver?
Yeah, her and Quicksilver. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're dead now. I don't mention it.
That was Age of Ultron, but yeah.
But the Avengers were trying to collect all the stones,
right?
And that's how they got their powers. Whereas from, I think it's the Mind Stone is the right one, but they never defined like what her power set is, and that always bothered me. I'm like, well, she's moving matter, but she's also creating illusions, but she's also doing mind control,
right?
And I never liked that about a character. I was like, I need to know what she can do, what she cannot do, because I don't know the rules for this character. So that's always bothered me about her.
Gotcha. All right. So let's just do it then. Let's get into it, because I think we've already exhausted our intros, because it's been so long. It's been forever since I've talked to you. I mean, I text you all the time, don't get me wrong, and every once in a while I'll shoot a call, but like we haven't done this in quite some time, and I totally just remember, and I'm like, man, it's so good to record with Anthony. All right. So top 5 Marvel movies. Let's do this how I usually do it with Joel. Was there any criteria that you came up with for this list prior to coming up with it?
No, I just basically went by. I you know what? Joel has his own set that he does. He usually will break things down in a way that makes sense to him.
Right.
And I always go by my criteria, which makes sense to me. Is that if I had to restrict myself to only the 5, which ones would I pick from those sets? And I've always stuck with that. It's like I'm on an island, I'm on a spaceship, whatever the case is, and I'm like, you get 5 of these to pick, and that's all you're ever gonna get to watch. And that's it. And that's how I pick mine. I know Joe gets like really clinical with his, like no, you had to beat the game and you had to do this and that, and you got to know the arithmetic and the coding behind it and bop, 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 bop. And other than that, it doesn't count. I'm just like, wow, he's oddly specific. He's hardcore about it. Me, I'm just like, well, look, if I got 5 to pick, these are the 5 I'm going with. And as long as it falls within that scope.
Yeah, that's true. I think for me, it was more along the lines of just what made me enjoy, what was most enjoyable. And of course, the island theory, or the spaceship theory to Mars, which is, if I only had to watch 5 movies from Marvel at this entire time, what would it be? Yep. So, being that it's your first time back in a while, let's start with you, Mr. Anthony Rodriguez. What is your number 5 movie in your top 5?
Yeah, my number 5 out the gate is going to be a controversial one for a lot of people because actually, in looking, it's at the bottom of most lists.
Okay.
Yep, it's The Incredible Hulk.
Oh shit! All right.
I really like The Incredible Hulk, and they give it so much crap, and it's just like it's always either at the bottom or close to the bottom, and it's just like I can watch this movie 100 times. It's really simple. It's really straightforward.
Yep.
You already know who the character is. You know what their power set is, and it has a good villain to it where it's an equal. You don't doubt like, oh, okay, this is a good match for the Hulk.
Right.
There's no big emotional moment to it, and I don't watch it. It's like, I just want to see them smash things and do stuff. And Liv Tyler's in it, and she's fine. As a love interest, I'm like, she's there, and that's fine. And I think the biggest thing for me is that I found Edward Norton to be the best Hulk.
I agree.
I like him better than Ruffalo, and I don't even talk about Banner because I'm just like that was just a trial run.
You mean Eric Bana looks like was it Legolas? Is that it is Legolas, right? No. Wait, why is Eric Bana? I swear, Eric Bana looks like either one of the Coreys, like Corey Feldman, or it was Corey Feldman.
Maybe he looks like an older Corey Feldman. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I remember Bana. But
I remember from like Angel Eyes and Persons of Interest. That's about it. He's a really boring actor to me.
He's a very boring actor.
He's never done anything he's kind of like James Marsden. I like James Marsden because of Westworld, but other than that, he doesn't stand out very much. It's like you're good looking enough. And it's just like you're tall enough and you can stand there and be a person that people will like want to look at, and that's it.
I gotta admit, dude, I actually don't remember who the Hulk's enemy was in the movie because it's been a long time since... Who?
Abomination. he's basically like an evil gray Hulk with a bunch of spikes. He kind of looks like Doomsday.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, does he look like Doomsday from DC?
Yeah, something like that. But he's all spiky and I don't know, he's a little bit more better designed in my opinion. But and when I say I like Edward Norton as the best Hulk, I liked him best as David Banner, and I liked him as the Hulk doing the mocap.
Right. I agree.
He did things with the character in the mocap that I still have not really seen. Like when he's fighting Abomination in that movie, and he actually like falls and gets dizzy. Like this is taking a toll on me. Like I'm this big monster, but he's also a big monster. He's powerful, and he made me believe that. Like, man, this is an actual rock'em sock'em fight. And I thought him bringing that kind of realism to the mocap was like, I respect that. I respect that he's like, oh, I'm the Hulk, I'm invincible.
I wish it worked out with Ed Norton being part of the MCU. I think he wishes that too. But
I wonder that. I'm like, does he like say like, oh man, I should have took it down a notch and like played ball with them because I could be a piece of this.
Not only a piece of it. I mean, dude, he missed out on like this whole huge. I don't know. Anyway, good pick. I gotta rewatch it, to be honest with you. It's been a long time since I watched it, and I think that's one of the first Marvel movies in the phases. Is that my
Yes, I want to say it's the first. I think it's 2008.
Something like that.
So I think it's like the first one in any of the Marvel series, but I think a lot of people don't count it until you get to Iron Man 1. But I think it was right before Iron Man 1, and I think the reason they didn't count it is the same reason they don't count these Universal monster movies. It's because like, oh, well, we want to kick off the Universal Monsters universe, but this one sucks. So the next one.
We'll just do it next time.
We'll start on the next one. And I think because Incredible Hulk didn't make a ton of money, and I think it didn't make a ton of money because the one before with Eric Bana sucked.
Right.
That people are like, oh, yeah, I saw that one. That must be the sequel, and that one sucked. So nobody went to saw it.
Yeah.
which is their loss. But whatever. I think that's why they didn't count it. That's why they always started with Iron Man 1.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's basically the forgotten bastard child of the MCU that should be
Absolutely.
part of it.
100%.
It's just an easy watch. I could watch it over and over, and it's nothing really too cerebral about it. It's a straightforward story. I like it, and I thought the CGI was very good for the time.
Sure. Cool. All right.
And Tim Roth was awesome.
Tim Roth is awesome in
He's
general.
awesome in like pretty much everything.
In every single role. I mean, man, dude, what was it? Between Pulp Fiction, any of the Tarantinos when he was.
I think Tim Roth is coming back as well, and as Abomination, I think he's coming back for She-Hulk.
Oh, nice. Right.
Yep.
Right on.
The She-Hulk series. I think Tatiana Maslany is going to play She-Hulk, and Tim Roth is in it.
She's so good. Did you watch Orphan Black?
I saw the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Orphan Black.
Oh, I loved it.
That's about it. Good. I don't know her from anything else.
Yeah, but she's amazing. So okay, my number 5. I guess you can say my list is very I guess whimsical in a sense. There's some that are very serious, but I think my number 5, is a pretty easy one for most, and it was very unexpected. Say again.
Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6. Yeah. No, okay, not Big Hero 6. It was Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. Yeah. That's very respectable. It came across my list a couple times. It was really good. It was very entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, Taika Waititi, which I've never even heard his name until I bought his Funko Pop and sold it for $200 when I bought it for $15 at Comic-Con. I've never heard of this guy before, but he's the one that directed it, and you can he's one of those. I guess it's a very good movie dialogue wise, and really just. Like it was a fun movie overall, and Chris Hemsworth, they say he looks very handsome and all that, but I think his stick is really in comedy. I think I want to,
all Australians are funny.
Yeah, they're all funny.
They're just naturally funny. They're like these really laid back party type people that they have a lot of charisma.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like he played it very well, and as much as I love Natalie Portman, I'm glad that she wasn't in this movie.
She's in the next one.
She is in the next one. She's going to be the new Thor or something like that. But yeah, I just loved the banter between him and the Hulk. I loved what was it? Jeff Goldblum's character in there as well. I mean, it's just there's a lot of just quirkiness in there, and who was the oh man, what was the Rock guy's name?
Quark. Quark, right?
Yeah, my name is Quark, and I'm and that's the director's voice. It's hilarious. It's just a lot of good whimsical stuff on there, and the story was pretty easy to follow. And I loved all that stuff. And it's kind of sucked that Heimdall had to do all got pretty much got destroyed, but yeah, I mean, other than that, though, I just think that it was just a fun movie, and I love the dialogue in it, and I like the character too. Or what was the bad guy's character? This is terrible. I should have been doing all my notes, and I didn't. But anyway,
that was my bad guy in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it was what's her name?
Oh
man, I'm gonna have to look this up because
was it? Oh, man, I'm spacing on it as well.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
And she was good too. I actually liked her. I actually thought she was a good
great.
Villain.
Yeah, I know she was a great villain. Great villain indeed. And I'm gonna find out it was Kate Blanchett.
Stabbing people left and right.
Kate Blanchett, and she was Hela.
Yeah.
Thought it was fantastic. And Valkyrie too, Tessa Thompson.
Which is weird because I can remember Malekith from the Dark World, and that movie was not good. It was
Dark World
pretty boring.
Yeah, it was boring.
But I can remember who the villain was.
I don't know. All right, number 4, Anthony. What do you have, sir?
Okay, so here's where my pick started getting controversial because I was like, is it MCU or is it Marvel? So I'm just like, well, if it's MCU only, it's this, but if it's Marvel, then it's this.
Okay.
Then I wasn't sure which one to give, but my interpretation that it was Marvel movies, and granted, there are a ton of Marvel movies that's been coming out since like this, I think the late 60s or 70s even. And I'm just like, I've not seen a lot of those, and chances are like that Roger Corman Fantastic Four is horrible. So I'm not going to delve into that.
Right.
So one of my favorite Marvel movies, which is on the darker side, is Blade 2.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say Blade because I knew that wasn't part of the MCU.
Yep. And I'm just like, I did have an MCU movie in that slot, but I'm just like, I don't know what the rules are here. And I'm
Right.
just like, but I really like Blade 2.
Yeah. No. Hey, it's your five, man.
Del Toro did it.
Did he do it really?
Yeah, it's the Del Toro one.
Wow.
That's why the effects and the makeup was so awesome, and that's why the was it the Reapers or the Reavers? I think it was the Reavers.
Those Reavers, yeah.
Reavers,
Yeah.
and those are awesome. They were like the most unique looking vampires.
Mhm.
What you want to call a step above vampires. They actually drink. They actually kill vampires.
Yep.
The whole concept of it was awesome. I'm just like, he took it a whole nother step, right? Because you have vampires, and then you have these things that like vampires are afraid of. You gotta get Blade. Like, we don't even know what these things are. Like, there's house dogs, there's street dogs, and then there's like wild pit bulls roaming the street, and we don't know what to do about these things. And it's like, go find me the baddest mother you can find to deal with this problem, because even us as vampires can't deal with them.
Do it. Yep.
So premise alone, this thing was awesome. I'm just like, when you have a badass afraid of a badass that's afraid of something more badass.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah.
The makeup was great. Del Toro does his thing where he everything is kind of like dark. So the effects look really good, and it's also very creepy.
Yes.
They even have parts of it where like these creatures are just like looking to the side and their eyes are like getting redder, because they're getting like all bloodthirsty and everything. And I'm just like, that's awesome. It's subtle, and you can't kill them. Like, there's some of them that get shot like 100 times and they just get up and run away. And I'm just like, how do you kill this thing?
Silver bullet.
Ron Perlman gets stuck in that sewer, and there's like 100 of them around him, and he's just like, I guess I'm just gonna shoot until I run out of bullets, and they're just gonna kill me.
Yep.
And I was just like, everything about this movie was awesome. The choreography was awesome. Makeup was awesome. The effect was awesome. The concept was awesome. And I still haven't seen a vampire movie that really steps it up the way that one did. And it was Marvel, so I was like, it fits the bracket.
It fits the bracket, and black ass Wesley Snipes, man. This was pre tax evasion. So I mean, he still
had a good haircut. Now when you see him, his hair is all like disheveled and wild.
Oh my god! Wait, you said his hair?
His hair, like, did you see him in the Expendables when he played the knife guy in Expendables?
No,
and he had the big untamed fro, and I'm just like, yeah, you look like you just got out of prison.
Oh my god! Is it as bad as Coolio though? Because Coolio has terrible hair. Like,
no, that's not. His is purposely bad. Like, he actually wants it to look like that, and it looks terrible. And I'm just like, wow, I don't know what you're trying to do, Coolio.
Anyway, Blade.
Why did you know this was going to be on my list?
Because when you were saying prior to us starting to record, you were like, "Is this MCU or is this Marvel in general?" I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
But why Blade 2? There's a couple of, like, you didn't think Blade 1.
Okay, well, Blade 1 was okay. Blade 2 was the best one. Blade 3 was horrible, absolute garbage. But I did like the fact that it was Whistler's daughter. I thought that was kind of cool. And Jessica Biel's is
Ryan Reynolds is a fucking 12 in Blade Trinity. Okay, he was like the peak of his hotness in Blade Trinity.
Like
his character was already Deadpool. I'm sure that's how he got Deadpool.
Oh,
from playing Hannibal King. So he was playing the same character already in that movie.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, the writing was pretty bad.
Yeah, the writing's pretty bad. And
I can't shoot around corners. I can.
Yeah.
I was just
Curve the bullet. That's the wrong boot. That's the wrong movie.
I like Wanted.
I liked Wanted too. I still think to this day, I will always take this to my grave. Wanted should have been a trilogy. If it was a trilogy, I think this movie would have been a fantastic trilogy overall. The fact that they crunched everything into one shot sucked. I think they should have stretched it out. It's one of the movies that I know of that could have been successful with a stretched out like trilogy.
I had never even thought of that movie being a trilogy.
It should have been a trilogy, is what I'm saying. Between him finding out who the guy was trying to kill him was, to finding out, when Morgan Freeman was tampering with the blah blah blah, And then at the end, when he
So you
kills,
thought it would have benefited more if they'd have paced out the story more because there was so much going on in there.
yeah, it was all jumbled up into
It
one
definitely
shot.
would have made the thing with the rats seem a lot more significant had the Russian guy, let's say, died in the first one,
Right.
and he had that information about, oh, rats, they love peanut butter. In the third movie, had he used that, like, oh, that's the thing from the first one where the Russian guy, blah blah blah, it would have been a lot more significant.
I'm telling you, man. Okay, sorry. Super tangent. Anyway, so okay,
Not
Blade
just
2.
a tangent, super tangent.
Super tangent. Number 4 for Rodell is going to be on the same gravy train as whimsical and fun. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I saw this on the top of a lot of lists.
Love the soundtrack. One of the best soundtracks ever made. And it's so funny because it's just very it's just it's a mixtape, obviously, and that's what it was. And I like Chris Pratt a lot. I like the interactions between him and the Zoe Saldana. And I didn't really like Batista's part in it, really, but the fact that
you didn't like Batista in the first one? I think he was one of the funniest parts of it.
It was all right,
I take everything literal.
I like Rocket Raccoon. I like Bradley Cooper, which is funny because I can't even hear Bradley's voice.
He's good.
It's really good, really good.
So he's doing, I think, like a Joe Pesci impression or something, right?
Something like that.
Goodfellas.
I was watching My Cousin Vinny the other day, and I can watch that movie over and over again.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh God, it's number one, man. And Marissa Tomei,
still hot
till this day. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the writing in there. I loved how fun it was. It wasn't like too serious. And again, this is kind of going in the same part with Ragnarok. It was serious, but it wasn't that serious, I guess. Even though they pretty much destroyed the entire, their entire kingdom. But Guardians of the Galaxy, it was just a fun overall movie, and it was very unexpected. That was the part that I was really surprised about, because I remember watching it. I think it was on Netflix or something. I was like, I'll just see it. It looks kind of dumb, but whatever. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. And like just the opening sequence with him dancing to the song, and I'm just like, this is amazing. And I actually did something of the dance to that song when I was working one time, and one of my jobs. Like I was by myself. I was doing a change, and like I was upgrading phones or whatever, and I blasted the song, and nobody was there, and I was just dancing along. Like, it was great. It was fantastic. I felt like Star-Lord.
Yeah, this Volume 1 and Volume 2 seem to be at the top of a lot of lists. And I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I have no problem with Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was great that it did so well for a bunch of unknown characters, that they took that risk on it. And the reason I like that is because it's like, hey, like, we're going to put these relatively unknown, unless you knew the comic book. Right. We're going to put them out there. They're a ragtag team, right? Which is like very, very classic. They don't know each other and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to get put in a situation that they have to team up. And they made it work well enough that people, everybody seemed to cling to a character like, oh, that's my character.
Yep.
Zoe Saldana was great. She's like this real hardcore, like feminine character, but she's never a damsel in distress or anything like that. Yeah, Star-Lord, who's like, I'm charming, but he's kind of like I'm spacing on it. Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China, right?
Yes.
And he's like, that character is like, oh, I love this guy because he's such an idiot, but he manages to get the job done. Like,
that's right.
He barely makes somebody, but he's mostly bullshit most of the time.
Jack Burton,
he thinks he's better than he really is.
Yep.
Groot, very simple character, very lovable character. Rocket, who's like that's like your was it Bob's, like your silent J, your Jay and Silent Bob characters there. So they really found a way to get kind of the spectrum with that movie. I don't have the love for it that a lot of people have. To like, oh, this is one of the best, but I like it. It's fine. Like, I enjoy it. I could watch it like more than once. The music is undeniable, but they're using a bunch of classic songs. So
exactly, they're using a bunch of classic songs. But do you remember listening to those classic songs prior to this movie? No, I don't remember those songs. And then when they started playing it, I play that stuff all the time. It's
the same thing I get with a Tarantino movie. He plays a lot of classic like 70s songs. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard this song in ages, or I've never heard this song. What is this?
Right.
And I got a lot of that out of Guardians 1 and 2, where it's just like, oh my God, I've heard this song in like ages. I forgot how good it was.
Right.
Or what is this song? Like, I think it was Volume 2 when they're listening to Rubber Band.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that song. I never heard that song. Yeah. And I heard that, I was just like, that's a good song. What is this song? I never heard it. I had to go look for it. And I'm just like, And that's a great thing about those. So really like Guardians 1 and 2. I wouldn't put them at the top of my list. I just find them entertaining, like I do Ragnarok and stuff like that. Lovable characters.
Right.
Love when Star-Lord gets hit with that keyboard in the face by John McAvoy.
No, wrong movie, by the way.
It was Star-Lord. I saw him. He was.
Well, Star-Lord got his ass. Yeah, Star-Lord got his ass handed to him and wanted. But good
picks. No argument.
No, good connection. I totally forgot about that, man. When you said that, I'm like,
Star-Lord's banging my girlfriend in the kitchen on my IKEA furniture.
Oh my god, terrible. Anyway, it's Professor X. Number 3. You're getting down to it. What do we got?
Number 3. My number 3 is the original Avengers.
Oh, okay.
I think it was 2012 when that one came out. After the couple of the Iron Man movies came out. Classic. So it's one that I've seen a couple of times, and I still, that's the Josh Whedon one.
Yes.
I thought he
the first Josh Whedon one
wrote it very well as far as like giving every character enough time to have their special moment and like to define. Mostly, I love what he did with the Hulk. The Hulk is there the whole time, and he's not the Hulk. He's not doing anything. It's just like this build up. And he was patient enough. And I think a lot of directors wouldn't be patient enough to hold off on that. That they would just be like, oh, Hulk's got to do something. Captain America's got to do something. And Iron Man's got to do something. Like, we need to see it right away. We got to please the kids. And he's just like, no.
Please the kids.
We're gonna save our wild card for like the right moment.
Right.
And we're just like, Mark Ruffalo's just like, oh, I'm a scientist. I'm going to do that. Nope. Not going to lose my temper. Nope. Everything's fine. Nope. Nothing's bothering me and then he just goes ham on everything. And I thought that was a great use of the character. And you can tell I'm a Hulk fan.
Oh yeah.
So, but that shot where he does the panorama shot where they first become a team always gives me the chill.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And that always gives me the chills, like, oh, that's them, like the original, 6, and that's them all back to back, ready to go. Captain America was so good because that's the first time you see him as a leader. Yeah, he was a leader as in the first Avengers when he has the Howling Commandos and all this and But those are just men. Those are regular men fighting regular odds, and there's a lot of those. But now, when they turn over the team to him, these are like superhumans against like, supernatural odds, basically. Yep. And you're like, Cap, take over. It's like, that's right, because he knows how to run a team. He does. And that's where you learn to respect him, that he has that experience. And I was just like, hell yeah. Like, even Tony Stark recognizes, like, look, I'm out of my depth here. Yep. I'm rich and I can make whatever I want and I can be arrogant, but this is where the real stuff is hitting the fan. I need an actual leader. And they all played their part really well. I thought it was just a really well-balanced movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. I loved it. I mean, if you don't like the Avengers, like the original, all that, man, I mean, I don't think you'd like America at that point, but it's just a really good feel good, like easy watch, just all these characters come into one, and you're just like, wow, and like you just want to know what happens. It's great. I mean,
oddly, not that different than Guardians of the Galaxy, right? You have this ragtag team coming together.
Yeah, but I mean, you got like these you got these like super duper people though, man. Except for, of course, Iron Man. Iron Man. Let's face it, guys. Iron Man is the equivalent of Batman. He's super duper smart. Ain't got no powers. Zero.
He's super brain.
No.
Super brain and super money.
Super brain and super money is one thing. That's no powers. That's just, I mean, and not only that, but
Professor X has a super brain.
But he's not rich. Is he rich?
He has that mansion.
Yeah, but
a bunch of kids running around not paying rent.
I don't know, man. I think that's from the government.
Nazi money. I don't know where Professor X gets all that money from.
Oh man.
You think Professor X is like a secret dope boy and he's using these kids to like run his dope with their superpowers, and he's got Nightcrawler like blamping in and out of places avoiding arrest?
I'm so it's funny that you say the dope game versus like human trafficking. Human trafficking these mutants, but
human trafficking is evil, but I can totally see him running dope with these kids with the special powers. Colossus, go run this dope up to Canada. The cops won't be able to stop you, even if they shoot at you. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Do it for Mother Russia. All right. So Avengers number 3. For me, my number 3 in the same vein, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Really? Spider-Man Homecoming.
I love Tom Holland, and you know what? And I think part of the reason why I chose this is because I recently just beat the Spider-Man game on PS5, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so good. And I love Spider-Man Homecoming. Like I just thought it was just again comes back to fun movie. I love Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Zendaya was all right, I guess.
Zendaya.
Zendaya, Zenny. I don't know. But I loved him. I loved his buddy. What's his buddy?
Ned.
Ned. I think it was Ned. Yeah, Ned. It's just again whimsical, fun. Love Spider Man. I love his quips. I love all of that. It's just a fun movie to watch. It's easy, and I can watch it with my son, and I don't feel like it's just a really great movie. I mean, is it written well? Yeah, sure, okay, I guess. Was it super spectacular? I guess, but I mean, really, I just watched it because of the dialogue. And like I said, I love Spider-Man, so I mean, that was my thing. And I like the interaction between him and Tony Stark, especially in the beginning when he's talking to, when he was recording all of his fights and stuff in the of Winter Soldier, or not Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So, but yeah, that was my number 3, man.
I like
mean,
the second one better.
Did you really?
I
like Far From Home too.
I thought Gyllenhaal was a good. I love Michael Keaton. Obviously, I mean, he's just awesome, all around awesome, in pretty much everything he does.
Yep.
I just thought that Gyllenhaal was a more complex villain.
I agree.
Although I know the first one they were trying to make this commentary about the common man and him try to come up, and his motives were very sound. I really respect that about the first one.
Right.
And the second one, the fact that it wasn't just one man, that it took like a whole team behind him to pull this off, made a lot of sense to me, and he seemed like more of a threat.
Yeah.
And the psychological aspect of it was really cool to me. There was a lot of things I liked about the second one. And I tend to give the first one of anything a pass because it's like you have to establish the character. Who's this person? Why are they doing what they do? Blah, blah, blah. So you lose a lot of time in that. And then the second movie, you can always just kind of run in it. Like, the character, the story. And now we can just focus on, this villain.
Yep.
So it has a little bit more of a gimme to it. So I don't know. I like the second one better.
I don't know. Like I said,
I do like Tom Holland. I do think he's the best choice of the Spider-Man so far.
So there was Toby.
Yeah, there's Andrew Garfield.
And it's funny actually. I watched the Andrew Garfield one not too long ago, or actually a couple weeks ago, last month, and it was really good. Like I actually never really like paid attention to it.
Which one did you watch? The first one?
I think it was the first one. With
they could have been good. They just tried to do too much with it.
I think so too.
They were busy planting seeds for like the next one and the next one, and
well, Sony.
And I really wanted the Lizard. The Lizard was the one villain that I always wanted because that was my favorite villain from the cartoon back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like always looking forward to them having the Lizard, but they overbloated the story with all these B plots and what happened to his parents and all this extra stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta dive back into the Andrew Garfield ones. Okay. Number 2. We're getting closer to the end, folks. What do you have, Mr. Anthony?
You're not gonna take any kind of guess? No.
Okay, hold on. Let me think about this. All right.
I mean, there are like 23 of these movies, but I've eliminated 3 out of the 23 of them.
All right, let me think about this. So, Incredible Hulk, Blade 2, Avengers. I'm gonna go with Iron Man.
No. Damn. Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Ooh, great pick.
Love that. It is. I'll tell everybody up front right now. If you want to win me on a superhero movie, ground it. Do it Nolan style. Make it grounded and believable.
Yep.
I don't mind for things to be all super fantastical and everything like that. That's fine. And especially if the world allows for it and that's what you have established. But Captain America is probably my favorite out of all the Marvel characters because he is the most realistic and grounded.
Right.
He didn't get his powers from magic. It's like something like, oh, okay, we experimented and did a drug trial and it had this effect on him. Right. Which is the closest to reality you're going to get, right? Because and it's the same with the Hulk. And Hulk is a little bit less realistic, a little bit more, bigger as far as it's concerned using radiation. But these are all actual experiments that have been done on real people.
Right.
For the same reason. I mean, they did actually try, as MK Ultra and things like that, Tuskegee, where they were trying to do even meth, where they're trying to get more out of soldiers. They actually did experiment with these things to get soldiers to, fight longer, fight harder, and do all these things. The Nazis did it. America did it.
Yep.
So his storyline was never so far-fetched. I always liked Steve Rogers because his storyline, even from the first Avengers, he was just a good dude with a good heart who just, I don't like bullies and da-da-da.
Yep.
He's always held true to that. So in the Winter Soldier, you do have that very realistic confrontation. Bucky's probably a little bit less grounded than Captain America is, but the fact that he has to go against his best friend creates that tension. It doesn't matter if they're superheroes or not. It creates tension to go against your best friend, someone he's known for a long time, and somebody who was as old as he was to remember the time when they came from.
Yep.
That's like destroying the last of your own kind, right? To do that.
Last of the Mohicans.
He was a badass on top of that when he shoots the car and just like calmly steps to the side as it like flips over. And I'm just like, that's a bad so MFer cool. right there. Where you're like, a car is coming towards me and flipping over. Oh, I'll just get out of the way. I'm that good.
He was like walking along. It's not a big deal.
He was his equal as far as being a villain where you knew he posed an actual threat to him and they let you know that.
Yep.
Some of the action scenes in there, the elevator fight scene goes without saying. The fact he jumped out of the elevator with the shield and got hurt, like, huddling against the shield. When he takes the bike, jumps off of the helicopter and all this. I'm just like, this is regular 80s type action, right? It's a little bit unbelievable because, it's a little bit over the top, but he can do that because he's a superhuman. He's not a regular dude. Right. Back in the 80s, anybody or Schwarzenegger could have did that. And you're like, oh, well, it's Schwarzenegger. Yeah. He's not even an enhanced person. Hang on, exactly. Can do that.
Steroids. That's all it is. It's just roids.
Everything about the Winter Soldier was done right. And I know Marvel has this thing where they're trying to make a kung fu movie. They're trying to do a spy thriller. They're trying to do a sci-fi movie, and they're trying to touch on all these different genres while keeping it in the universe. And this was, I guess, their action spy thriller version of it.
I think so, yeah.
I think so. And so I liked everything about the Winter Soldier. I just think it's really well written and well done. Chris Evans is a really good actor to begin with. So as a leading man, he is already awesome. So that's a great choice. Absolutely.
100%. And in fact, sound off the siren, man. That was my number 2. I thought
we got a matchup, people.
I thought Winter Soldier was the best out of the trilogy of Captain America movies. I mean, Civil War was great. Don't get me wrong. I thought
it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, a lot of good stuff in there. But I thought Winter Soldier was definitely, with everything you just said, I completely 100% agree on. The fact that the grounding was there, along with the story, fighting against friends and all this other stuff. And, Chris Evans is very believable in that sense. And I think that he, handsome dude, but at the same time, Bucky it was a good like fight between those two, like it was like good versus evil, like type of deal. Just like, bam, like it was done very well. I think.
And the conflict that, his friend wasn't really in control.
Right.
It's like your friend being on drugs and doing stuff. You're like, I really want to hurt you, but you don't know what you're doing. So I don't know how to handle this. And when they're in the helicarrier and he's just punching him over and over, and you're like, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you. I'm just like, oh,
no, what are you doing? Just fight him. It's okay.
He's just like bringing up all these old memories and everything. Like, no, you just keep punching me. I'm just going to remind you like we're good friends. That was hardcore. I love that.
Yeah. So, all right, we're at the number 1 spot, but before we do that, you guys know, I have to ask the question before we go on. Oh man, what am I thinking?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Thank you. Why am I blanking on that? Honorable mentions.
I know I haven't been on this show since like the late 80s, but I do remember there was an honorable mentions section.
Late 80s, you're a jerk.
Do you want to give me the quick 5?
Hey man, I got my first rapid 5 on the last episode. How crazy was that? I was I was not expecting that at all. I was like, oh, okay, all right, Joel, I got you. Honorable mentions. Yeah, it was kind of hard. What was it? Did you have any honorable mentions? Yes.
Honorable mention, Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Really like Doctor Strange. It's like the closest thing they have to a kung fu. version of a Marvel movie, so I'm gonna give that one love. I think Shang-Chi is supposed to come out like next year, and that may be more kung fu-y than Doctor Strange. But I like Doctor Strange. I thought it was decent. Rachel McAdams, I always like her. She's I never find her to be like this super good actress or super hot actress,
right?
But she's always just above like mediocre.
Right.
Like she gets the job done and she's memorable and she's kind of adorable and she has good charisma, good screen presence.
Yep.
I like that Benedict Cumberbatch did play the character kind of true to form, where he was very arrogant and kind of unlikable.
Yes.
And the whole point of it was for him to find humility.
Yeah.
And I thought they did that well. Even when he's like, and the whole mission that he's on in the beginning of is all about him.
Yeah.
It wasn't about any grand purpose or anything. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He's just like, I'm trying to fix my own problems so I can go back to being awesome, doing what I did.
Yep.
So that was an honorable mention for me. It's a movie I can watch over and over. The other one was Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Okay.
I thought it was a good pairing for Spider-Man to go against Mysterio. Mysterio is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains from the cartoon.
Yep.
Even back in the cartoon, he had the fishbowl head.
That's right.
And they did do that, and I was really happy that they did do that as his character, but it was the illusion part, because if you put Jake Gyllenhaal actually in that costume, it's like, that looks stupid.
Yeah.
But he made a different character, and I thought everything they did, I thought a lot of things they did with that movie made a lot of sense. So I enjoyed that one. Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay.
Also on there. Not the best Marvel movie, but I like that it had a lot of heart to it. I like the message behind it. I like that he was an underdog, and that him being weak and scrawny, like his character's still like, nope, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try anyway.
Yep.
I really enjoy him going through the basic training.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a Rocky montage type deal where it's like, I'm smarter than you guys and I'm going to prove myself and all this. So those are my honorable mentions. Those are movies that I can probably watch repeatedly and enjoy.
I noticed this episode you've been really nostalgic on the 80s between Cobra Kai and and montages and Expendables and and Schwarzenegger. Just saying.
What was I watching before we started this? Was I watching some 80s related?
Dude, you must have been watching something, You just been, I don't know what you were watching.
You know what it was? It was Wonder Woman 84. I'm all about the 80s.
Oh my God.
Because Wonder Woman was so awesome that it's got me in the 80s mindset.
Wait, did you think 84 was great? I couldn't even watch the rest of the movie.
I couldn't get through it because I was crying so much because it was so moving to me. Because the weight and the gravity of what Gal Gadot was doing with this character, I was just like dumbfounded the whole time. And, everything that was going on in the movie was just beautiful. It was such a beautiful movie.
You make it sound like it's Gone with the Wind. Like it deserves an Oscar at this point.
Oh, for sure, Patty Jenkins deserves an Oscar for Wonder Woman 84, without a doubt. Gal Gadot should probably get an Oscar, but they'll probably make her wait the way they did Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. They'll probably retro award it to her on the third one.
Yeah, we're like, oh,
it'll be for Wonder Woman 84, but they'll give it to her later.
Oh Jesus! Anyway,
Mandalorian on there, he was fantastic.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal, dude. You know what, man? I gotta admit, dude, I really like him as an actor. In fact, I watched a video of him recently about all of his different roles that he's done. And because he was like Martell in Game of Thrones, and he's the Mandalorian. He was Narcos. He was it was awesome.
I never watched Narcos. I just know he was on it.
How could you have not watched Narcos? Narcos.
It's Pedro Pascal has that weird doughy face, and so when you see him, you just remember him.
Yeah.
But I never watched Narcos.
Anyway,
but yeah, Wonder Woman 84. If you haven't seen it, stop everything you're doing and go see it, and make sure it makes $1 billion because it deserves it, because it's that incredible.
Hashtag not life. Sponsored. Hashtag I am not in agreement with this person by any means. He just produces and edits my videos. Thank you.
I just want people to watch it based on my recommendation so I can piss them off as a prank. And they'll go, what is he talking about?
What is he talking? Really?
This is what you do. Look, I know you're not going to like it for the first 2 hours. Trust me. Just watch it to the end and it will change your life. It's that mid-credit scene that makes it will tie it all together and it will all make sense.
When you see who the best boy, who the best boy is, that's when it hits.
The Secret of Wonder Woman 84 is that last credit. It will all like just hit you and make sense when you get to that part.
Oh man, I love Kristen Wiig. I think Gal Gadot's like she's smoking hot, but
she was hotter in the first one. She lost too much weight for this movie.
I think so too. Yeah,
her face looked deflated. She looked a lot cuter in the first one. I mean, she's gonna get older no matter what, but it's not like such a big age jump. I think because she was pregnant in the first one, she was just more filled out, and I think that character needs to be. And I think she just looked better in the first one.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here, real quick. Honorable mentions for me: Iron Man, Captain America 1. Yeah, and then
surprised about that one.
Yeah, Captain America 1, Iron Man, and what was the other one? Far From Home was another one that I had on my list as well that I was going back and forth about. But I will say though, it was a very large toss up, but I had to do it. I'm gonna just start with my number one. My number one is going to be Doctor Strange.
Your number one is Doctor Strange?
My number one is Doctor Strange, and I'll tell you.
Wow.
I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I love the movie itself. I love the fact that he was, again, normal dude, and he was an asshole, and again, like you mentioned, it was all about him, and then finally he realized it's not about him, and the fact that he kind of just goes into this like, okay, you know what, maybe there's a bigger calling for me, right? And so,
which Rachel McAdams points out.
Yeah, totally.
Earlier, and he totally dismisses it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, between that, what's his face? What's the Mexican dude's name? The guy that they found out that was walking and he was
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Dude, was
Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt. Yeah.
Yeah, Benjamin Bratt. La Onda. Blood in, blood out, like was in it. And so it was it was just like, I mean, again, another one of those, like, it was kind of whimsical, but not really, but it was kind of dark. I love the fact that, there's a lot of good quips in there. Just very, I think it was fairly believable in a sense, right? And I mean, of course, the rings and all that stuff, but I love the effects on there. It was a little bit Nolan-like in a sense, kind of dark that way, but for the most part, was done very well. I think it's probably is my favorite movie of the Marvel Universe because of that. And it wasn't like too grabbing. And I love the fact that it was somebody that I never really knew about until I watched the movie, and then I started looking more and more into the character, and I'm like, oh, that's who you are. So I thought that was really good. That was my number one overall.
I will say one of my favorite things about that movie as a Marvel movie is that the resolution of it. 95% of all these superhero movies in general end with this big battle and just smashing a bunch of stuff and a fight.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange didn't do that. It was an intellectual fight.
Yes.
And it was just calm. And it was just like he figured out a loophole to beat the big bad. And it wasn't, it could have been a spectacle of magic.
Yeah.
And him just shoo and magic this and magic that until he won. And they could have did so many things, and it was just like, no, I'm just gonna outsmart you because that's my real power, is being smart and figuring things out. And they point that out like, wow, you like learn things really fast and you retain things really fast.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. Like, I remember this and this is gonna work. And I was like, that's different. And I love that was different.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I forgot to mention on my honorable mentions, it was between Doctor Strange and Ant-Man. And I never would have guessed Ant-Man in a million years that I would like that movie. But who doesn't love Paul Rudd? If it's you, we might have to discuss our friendship at this point.
I love Paul Rudd since Friends. I don't mind the Ant-Man movie at all. And I think that's Marvel's version of like kind of the younger base movie. And I think, they intentionally did that. Like, it's like, hey, we have plenty of movies for PG-13 teenagers and adult. And, we're going to go a little bit preteen.
Right.
And we're going to use Ant-Man for that. Cause he's kind of a silly character with a power that's like, kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't help us, like we'd be fine,
Yeah.
And I do think it was a lot of influence from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and like, oh, okay, he could be our more kidified character.
Yeah.
And they kind of do that with Groot, with the whole baby Groot thing. Whatever. It's Disney. They want to sell toys and all this. That's fine. I like Ant-Man. I actually think I like Ant-Man 2 better, Ant-Man and Wasp. I think
Really?
it had a better villain because I like
Yeah.
the ghost chick. I thought she
Yeah.
was kind of a badass.
Yeah, I thought she was badass too. But no, I like the original the original villain. I can't think
I
of his
don't even
name,
remember who the
man.
villain was in the first
It was
Ant-Man.
the yellow the
Yellow Jacket?
yellow
Yeah, I
jacket.
thought he
Yeah.
was lame. I was not worried about him at all.
Yeah, no, I
Hey,
liked
but
him.
the little lamb.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a bully. Don't like me. I thought he was
Uh,
kind of wormy.
yeah. So
Um, my
number
number
one,
one, right?
sir. Okay, so I gotta think about this, man. So it's not Doctor Strange.
No,
Definitely it isn't Iron Man. At least I
nope, it's
don't
none of
think.
the Iron Mans. And
It's
I
not
will say that the Iron Man just got worse for me. I really didn't like Iron Man 3.
no one
Everybody
did.
they give BS to no, Iron Man 2 gets a lot of flack thrown on it.
I always liked Iron Man 2.
I didn't mind Iron Man 2. I thought it was fine. I thought the villain was fine. I thought
Yeah,
the
I thought
story
so
was
too.
fine. It made sense. It
Yeah.
was entertaining to me.
No,
I
I
thought
agree.
Iron Man 3 was really over the top. And I was
Mhm.
just like, I don't like this extremist thing at all.
Right.
Guy Pearce was fine as a villain, but I'm like, this whole power set they're coming up with and what they did with what's her name? I'm spacing on her name.
Gwyneth Paltrow, my favorite.
There you go.
Yep.
Love her. Yeah, I just didn't like the story. I didn't like the story. It was too much for me.
I don't know. I love Gwyneth Paltrow. That's I mean, she's like one of my top like actresses.
Classy lady.
Classy lady,
vagina,
man.
Her vagina rocks and all.
Okay, number one, sir. I'm at a loss at this point. It could be Endgame. I will say, or it could be Infinity War, because I think that you like downers, but
I will tell you, it's not Endgame.
damn.
And my thing with Endgame was that Endgame was just a celebration of everything they had did.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of here's a bunch of Easter eggs of all the best things that we did. And
here's a montage of all the female characters in here to try to, get this thing. I'm just like, is this really necessary?
there was a lot wrong with Endgame, and I feel like, oh, okay, like we're gonna tack this on because we don't want the bad guy to win, and here we have to fix. And it was so damn well.
It was long.
It's long. It's confusing with the whole timeline thing. Like, oh, that's not how
Mm-hmm.
time works. You can't undo anything. You can only make a new time stream. So what you're telling me is that everything you change is not going to fix anything anyway. It just makes a new timeline.
Yep. Exactly.
There's still going to be a multiverse version where what happened and you didn't change it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I know a lot of people are really excited about this multiverse thing, but I'm just like, that kind of takes away a lot of consequence for me. To have people jumping between multiverses, right?
That's
it's
true.
Rick and Morty. It's what Rick is always talking about. Nothing matters because there's an infinite version of everyone.
Yep.
And no matter what you do, you can just jump to a different multiverse. And there's always one that's really close to yours because there's an infinity number.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what I do, I'm a god. Because there's always going to be somewhere for me to go where whoever I killed still exists and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So Rick and Morty ruined the whole multiverse for me. Can't wait for Rick and Morty to come back.
Yeah.
My number one is Infinity War.
I knew it. Yes. I knew it.
Why is it Infinity War?
Why is it Infinity War? You let me know, and I'll say agree or disagree.
Well, number one, it starts with a badass already having killed most of the people there.
That's right.
How many movies do you? How many PG-13 Disney movies?
Yep.
do you see start with the dude and everybody's pretty much already dead except for the people he wants to be alive?
Yep.
You ain't gonna see that on Frozen. So number one, there's no big villain reveal because they have been building them up for so long. But we open with everybody slaughtered.
Yep.
This dude's just standing there like Mafia King, and he's just like, "Tell me what I want to know." Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, I don't care. Oh, Heimdall. Oh, you're used to him. You've been seeing him for 10 years. Yeah, I'll kill him. I don't care.
Yeah, like I don't care about him.
Hulk has to jump ship because Hulk gets beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how often are you gonna see that? Like Abomination gave him a good run for his money. This wasn't even close.
No,
he was toying with him.
Yep,
and it's just like, who are you to toy with the Hulk and then go, yeah, that's enough of that. Now I'm gonna Mike Tyson the hell out of you. And he does, and Hulk is just like, what's going on now?
Yeah, how is this happening? Yeah, is that what happened? Oh,
so he gets beat down, and I'm just like, this movie is not pulling punches. It is going straight as graphic as it can be for a PG-13 movie. Mm-hmm. They did not waste any time.
They didn't.
You respect the villain right away. Mm-hmm. Okay, physically, you respect. He's imposing. He's beating the Hulk. He's killing people.
Yep.
That is how you do a villain. The other thing about it was that as a villain, he had this mentality to him that you were like, you have a point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you kind of understood where he was coming. It didn't matter if you agreed or not. You could see where, and a lot of villains don't have that. A lot of villains like, I'm evil because I'm evil. And it's just like Loki has a backstory. You get that. He's just like, oh, well, my family was killed by you and da-da-da, and I'm resentful, and you never loved me and blah, blah, blah. And I deserve, I'm a god, blah, blah, blah. So he's just kind of an entitled whatever. But Thanos it's the same thing Hitler had, where Hitler was like, I'm idealistic, I'm an environmentalist, and I just want a perfect world. And the way to get a perfect world is that everybody's the same, or it's this specific way. And if I can achieve that, everything will be great. And that's all Thanos is doing. He's like, look, if I can get rid of all these extra people, everything will be perfect. That's all I'm trying to do. Like, why are you
messing with me, man? What do you want me to do?
And he's very grounded in the fact that, look, I get that everybody's not going to be on board with this, and I'm prepared for that. And I'm prepared to do whatever I got to do to make it happen, because I know everybody's not going to be on board, but this is what's best for everyone. And I'm just like, damn, that's deep. I'm just like, I'm kind of on Team Thanos here. Like, kill them all, Thanos.
Just do it, man. If I'm part of the half, it's cool, man. It's not a big deal.
And this is where DC failed with their attempts. It was just like, dude was smart. He was pulling off a plan. He already started off with like 3 of the stones, and you're just like, oh, okay, like and it didn't matter. Nobody looks at it like it's a plot hole. Like, well, he already started with 2 or 3 stones, and how did that happen? And you don't question it because it's him, and you already see what he's doing. It's like, obviously he just went wherever they were and laid waste to whoever stood in his way. That's true. It was believable. I really love when the heroes don't get it so easy. Where they have to, like, it's actually work to try to outsmart the whoever the villain is. You're not just gonna out strength him or anything like that. Like, they're scared of this for good reason. They're scared of him. So you got these even the Hulk is scared of him because he's like, he beat me up. I don't know. There was nothing I didn't like about this movie. I like that he won at the end, because it's just like, we're not even going to tie this in a nice little bow to make you feel good about yourself. No, he killed half of the universe, and he got away with it.
And scene.
Oh, by the way, he just eradicated half of the people you like. Spider-Man's gone. Boo-hoo, kids. Go home and cry. We don't care. And and it's just like, people don't usually respond well to that. Now, granted, it was easier for them to do it because they knew they were going to do Endgame. They knew they were going to undo all of it. In this day and age, it's always like, well, the test audiences didn't respond well to this, so we changed the ending. And they're just like, no, we're not going to change it. No, they're dead. It's fine. And we'll fix it later. Don't worry about it. But you guys can be traumatized for a year or 2. Don't worry about it. We don't need all these snowflake kids like, no, Spider-Man's dead. Bring him back. Oh, we brought him back in the end credit scene, kid. Don't worry about it. Yay.
I gotta ask you. All right, so I told Joel about this this week, and he asked me this question, and I thought and I'm glad that this was their number one, because I really wanted to ask you this question. Do you think it was Scarlet Witch's fault that everything went down, or was it Star-Lord's fault? Whose fault was it more that things went down the way it did?
That's a good question. Because it was natural for me to blame Star-Lord because his was so obvious.
Right.
He had this whole big moment of like, dude, we had this plan, do your part, and this will work.
Right.
And I'm like, you couldn't wait another 5 minutes to be distracted by this whole thing. Like, yeah, I get that you're hurt and you're bothered by this, but you're a grown man and there's something to get done right now. And that's the more important part. You can shoot him in the face after you've accomplished the mission. I think because Star-Lord's part in the failure was so glaring, that made it easier to answer. Like, I didn't remember Scarlet Witch like failing. I'm just like, oh, what did she do? You're like, oh, well, she could have destroyed the stone, and she didn't. I'm like, oh,
No,
I understood why she didn't do it, and she had another solution. In that moment where your crew is all putting their life on the line and they're waiting for you to do your one part, that's glaring. That's like, it's go time. Where for her, it's like, no, we have a backup plan and this might work, and we're not going to lose one of our own if we don't have to, which is the same thing Captain America said. We don't trade lives. And that's all she was trying to do, was like find another way to do it. Star-Lord already committed to the plan.
No, Star-Lord got baited. Star-Lord got baited by Thanos, which okay, I get you on that. Like Thanos, he was talking his game, whatever, and then that's what pretty much baited Star-Lord to do what he did. Scarlet Witch, first of all,
wait, are you suggesting that Thanos was saying what he was saying in order to get Star-Lord to mess up?
Yes.
He didn't seem like he was really in that much of control because
no,
Mantis was holding
I'm
him
telling
and
you,
he was kind of just talking.
It was a bait.
Star-Lord
it was a mind game. It was a mind game.
But Star-Lord was the one that brought it up.
But that was his. But like I said, that was
Gamora.
It was a yeah. But so it was a mind game, right? Versus Scarlet Witch, she had a conscious decision to say, okay, look. First of all, I'm in IT, and you can back all of that data up for Vision and create a new Vision. That's fine. Not a big deal. You can do that.
No,
it's okay.
The stone is what makes him alive. He's not just a machine.
So what? You got Tony Stark, the smartest man on the planet. Or the universe, you can say. He can make another Vision. You can make another sex doll.
Backup disc.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, here, I got the backup disc, y'all. Go ahead and pop it in there. Could have just destroyed the stone? Guess what? Thanos wouldn't have reigned. Boom goes the dynamite. We're done. That's my problem with Scarlet Witch. Like, why didn't you just do your part, right? Do your part. Like, just.
But by the time Thanos got to Wakanda, he had the time stone, did he not?
No, that wasn't the time stone that was in Vision. Like that was the stone, right?
No. Doctor Strange had the time stone. That's why when she actually did what she did, he was able to undo it.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't matter. You just
so then the question becomes: even had she done that, he already had the time stone. He could have just went even further back and undid it anyway.
I don't know. I still think.
They had a chance to get the gauntlet way before that. So to me, you go furthest back to when it could have been prevented, and that was a Star-Lord issue, being an idiot and losing his temper at the wrong time. He could have just sucked it up for 5 minutes while they pulled the gauntlet off, and then went ham on him if he wanted, which he wouldn't have did nothing to him. I'm like, you ain't killing him.
No,
but
no way.
You would end up you would have got that gauntlet off him. He still would have murdered you. You still should have ran. But take the gauntlet and you run, and that's it. But no, I don't know. But yeah. Them destroying that stone, he had the time stone, so he could have gone back as far back as he wanted and still undid that to the point where the stone existed again. I
don't know. I still think that it was her fault, and Starlight just got baited. That's all. That's.
I never thought about what you're saying is intriguing to me about Thanos saying that to trigger. I mean, because he did obviously know that he was with Gamora and that they had this connection. But I never once thought, looking at that movie, like he's saying that to mess with him, to get him to mess up.
Yeah.
I took it that like Star-Lord is so obsessed with Gamora. He's like, where's Gamora? And Thanos at that point, he's just like kind of out of his mind because Mantis is holding on to him and he's trying to hold on to the gauntlet. And you're bringing up Gamora, and he's like, oh, Gamora. And he's like talking like a zombie because Mantis is doing her thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, too bad. Like, I had to kill her, whatever he says. And I never took it as like, oh, if I say this guy's going to lose. Look, if I'm Thanos, you got super strong Spider-Man. You've got Doctor Strange with powers. Mantis was doing something to me. I'm not worrying about Star-Lord. This dude's got a phaser that won't even sting me. Why do I care about what he's doing or not doing? I'm just like, oh, if I mess with him, then he's gonna knock her off of my head and I'll regain control of my body. I never thought about that.
No, like I said,
I never took that out of that scene. I just took
baited him. It was a mind game. It was all mind games at that point.
He didn't really seem in full control of anything at that point. He seemed like he was in a zombie ambient type state and just like responding to what Star-Lord was bringing up. Had Star-Lord said nothing about it, he wouldn't have mentioned Gamora.
All right, so
they could have made it more obvious if that's what he was doing. Like, oh, don't you want Gamora? What? Why are you bringing up Gamora? Why did you say Gamora? My girlfriend's name is Gamora.
No, what was it? Martha. Why did you say that name? We're now best friends.
Pistol whip.
All right, guys. So what'd you guys think? Yay or nay? That's our 5 for our top 5.
You thought you were going to give me a hard time, and we had a lot of same stuff on the list. So.
We did. And so what'd you guys think? If you guys have any type of comments, leave them down below. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Stay tuned for more announcements and our live stream, and also let's try to get that subscriber count up so we can get that giveaway going. So I know you want a console. You always want a console.
I will take a
Anyway,
console,
Anthony, thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to do this, because it is. Happy New Year, everybody. Stay tuned for the next one with the we'll bring Joel back in here, figure something out. Hopefully Anthony doesn't want to do more. Actually, I want him to do more. I don't know.
Top 5 Wonder Woman 84 moments.
Indeed. Thank you guys very much for listening. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out.